welcome back to another Meet the Pros. Today, we have Samantha McClelland back with us. So Samantha, for those of you that are following our channel, will remember that she was part of our industry panel on women in the industry. I found it to be fascinating. I was actually supposed to moderate that, Samantha. I don't know if you remembered.
I do.
And then I pulled out because I figured, well, it's kind of silly for me to be in the middle of all of this when we're talking about women in the industry and then have me be the moderator. So I'm glad that I got the chance to talk to you one-on-one now.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Well, as Samantha McClelland, we're based out of Greencastle, Indiana. We service Putnam County, so our county. So it's Greencastle and the surrounding small areas. And we're a landscape maintenance company. So we base on we do your lawn care, the mowing and things like that. And then mulch installs, aeration overseed, trimming, seasonal cleanups, that type of thing. And we've been in officially Freedom Landscapes for about a year and a half now. But I have been doing this with Josh for just a little over 2 years, almost 3.
And where did the name Freedom Landscapes come from?
Well, I wish I could remember exactly what book or podcast it was, but we were listening to something when our office was in our bedroom and we were listening to something and they were talking about what is success? How do you define success? And they said success is freedom. And so it's the freedom of time, the freedom of finances and things like that. So when we hear freedom, those things for ourselves as success, but it leaks into our mission statement. We want to give our clients freedom of time. They spend the money to have us come and service their property and have that quality. So when they pull in the drive after working, or whatever, they do, when they step outside, they have the freedom to enjoy their time with their family, friends, hobbies, whatever it is. So we want to give them that back.
That's great. I love that. Do you include that in your marketing at all? Is that part of how you sell your services?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Like I said, we've gotten that into our mission statement. So just in general context, whenever we're speaking with, new clients or whatever, just explaining to them that that's what's important to us, to give that quality so they, and that we appreciate that they've elected us to do that service, and that we hope that not only they appreciate what they see when they walk outside, but we want them to be able to appreciate the extra time that they get, because we want them to be able to utilize that however.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think a lot of lawn care landscape professionals really use to their advantage. So I think that's really interesting, because it's one thing to do a good job and to have somebody come home from a day of work and see that they don't have, oh, look how nice my lawn looks, or look how nice my landscaping looks. I don't have to do it. But I don't think a lot of them associate, wow, that's just saved me a couple of hours this week that I can spend with my kids, or that I could spend watching the game, or whatever, whatever.
Going golfing, something like that.
Yeah, so that's actually a really interesting tip for people listening. Why not? I'm a big fan, and all of the people that I've talked to doing this with Echo Means Business. I've learned to be a big fan of leave behinds. A little leave behinds when you've been on the property, a little bag of grass seed to say, hey, if you want to help out a little bit, here's, maybe sprinkle this out, in between my visits, or just little notes to say, this is what I did today. You may want to, water a little extra, just little tips. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to say, hey, hope you enjoy what we've done this week, or you like the look of it. Why not leave a note that says, enjoy your that extra 2 hours you've just earned.
I love that. Yeah, exactly. I never thought about that little note there, but that's a great idea. I like it.
Yeah. Well, this is what Echo Means Business is all about. Actually, just, pros talking to other pros and inspiring ideas, and how we can, how everybody can grow their business stronger. I like, again, it doesn't have to be a note. The note idea came to me now when we were talking. But it's not a bad idea to call it out. So, you know what, this is what I've just done for you. And now this is a benefit to you. It can, and then ask for a testimonial, ask for a recommendation right after that.
Yeah. Just get it all done all at once. Yep.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how I'm always fascinated, and I think maybe I shouldn't be, because there are so many women in this industry right now that are just killing it. But I'm fascinated in the stories that got you here, because it is a male dominated industry. There's a stereotype around it.
Yep.
So I'm curious, what drew you into this industry?
So I kind of told it on whenever did the panel, the women in the. So Josh and I had started dating, and he was already working with another company doing landscape maintenance. And we were talking. He's like, eventually, I want to own my own company. I want to do my own thing and grow something a lot bigger. And I'm like, that's great. I love it. I was working in an HR type role, and less than 6 months later, I get a call from him. I knew he was having breakfast, having a meeting with the guys he worked with. And I got a call, and he's like, I just bought out part of the company. He's like, I bought some equipment, bought some accounts. And he goes, we're going all in. And I'm like, we are? Okay.
Okay, so I got it. The stereotype is still there in my head. When you heard that, had you already been doing any work in the lawn care industry before this? So were
No,
you
I can bear.
expecting, okay, you're going to be doing the bookkeeping, or
Yeah,
did you know?
exactly. That was when, and see, that's the really neat thing. That's what I love, and why I'm so passionate about our company the way I am, is that I didn't originally have this. It was his dream and his passion, but I started, it was the books. It was learning, what is it to become what's the difference between LLC and DBA? And then, okay, LLC, and then we're going to do S Corp. And so that was my role in the beginning. But of course, at the end of the day, it fell on both of us, and so I started going out with him, and he taught me how to utilize the equipment, and how, what the expectations were. And there's so much that goes into it. And then that became my passion. And as we've grown, it was just really neat, because I've told him one of the things that is very important to me is I don't want to ever ask something of someone that I'm either not willing or can't do myself. I just feel, as a leader, to go out in the field, especially when I'm not there 24/7, but to go out in the field and ask one of our team members, can you do this better or differently? I don't feel comfortable asking that if I can't meet that same expectation. So then I started going out into the field and learning how to do those things, and learning exactly what I'm asking of them whenever I say something needs done, and so I can explain to them how to complete that. And so it's become a passion, full force all around.
I love that. So how long ago was that again?
So that I probably about 2 seasons ago, so about 2 years ago, is when I started learning how to do everything out in the field and complete all of that, and be able to go to a property and finish, start to finish.
And is it still just the two of you, or have you brought on any part-time or full-time employees?
We have 2 full-time team members.
That's awesome. That's a
Yep.
pretty fast ramp up compared to what I'm hearing a lot of other solopreneurs or small companies experiencing.
Yeah, it was us, like a lot of the other businesses in the economy right now. This season started out rough. It was just Josh and I. I was out there all spring with him. It was him and I running the routes, doing the schedules. Thankfully, because our guy, we have a wonderful team member who worked with us last year, but then he had moved, and we stand by. We're okay. If anybody wants to leave our company, that's great, as long as they leave better. And he had moved and was taking on better opportunities. Well, beneficial to us, he moved back. And so he came back to us this season. And then we also had another team member come on that has some in lawn care and things like that. And we finally zeroed in on our niche and our team and our culture, and we're working together great. And we really want to hold on to these guys. It's super important to us. So we're thankful for that.
How I've had the good fortune to talk to a lot of husband wife, boyfriend girlfriend teams over the last 6 years. That we've been running this community. So I'm curious to see if your experience has been any different. What's has it been challenging? The person that you see every evening, at night, being the person you see all day long. Like, has that brought you guys closer together? Do you find that a struggle? He's not
It's
listening, so be honest.
he's not listening now, but he
Yeah.
will. No, it's it you come across everything. There are moments of struggle because it's your personal business, and it's not just like you're working a 9 to 5 job together. It's really important because both him and I are solely responsible for the survival of our families and 2 other team members' families and those things. So there's a lot of weight that rides on it. And there are moments, I mean, especially working in this heat, it's hot, communication isn't always perfect, but it has put us in a position where we have grown tremendously. I mean, Josh, he ultimately, he is my best friend, and we conversations where sometimes we might have to discuss something and I'm like, okay, I'm talking to you strictly co-owner of this business, so don't take anything I say in the wrong direction. And then sometimes I have to talk to him and I have to be like, I understand that you're trying to get all this done for the business and but family wise, we had the conversation the other day. I'm like, I'm going to have to, it's, time for that annual doctor's appointment. You're going to have an eye appointment, just those normal checkups. And I'm like, as your person, I'm going to make these appointments. And when I call you, I'm going to tell you, you have to go to these appointments. I know it's the middle of the day, but you're going to have to schedule around it. I know that the schedule is going to struggle, but you have to do it. And so it's a balance of, it's give and take between personal business. And we just have to be aware constantly that one always affects the other. But like I said, ultimately it's brought, I mean, it's made us communicate on levels we probably wouldn't.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fascinating to me. I've had the exact opposite experience in the past working with a spouse, but I'm happy to see that this has been good for you. Because there's no question that there's going to be challenges with it. There's just no way that there can't be when you
Right.
spend that much time with one person next to somebody without that break. It's not natural.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you know what I mean. You do have a tendency to start to take things out on that person when you don't really intend to necessarily.
Yeah.
And there's just you lose that absence makes the heart grow fonder aspect of a
Sometimes.
relationship, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's important. But I'm happy to see though that you guys have been able to find that balance, and that's actually made you closer, if anything else.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that I've taken from it that is probably one of my favorites is working together so closely, we get to see every win that the other has. We get to experience those wins together. We get to grow and learn together. And it's really neat too, because we're listening to a lot of the same podcasts. We're taking information, but I may hear something he doesn't hear. He interprets something different than I do. And so when we talk about it together, I think it's exponential for our growth. And that's really thankful for in our company.
Yeah, I think it's important though that you guys each have the same passion for it. That you've developed that passion that he had. I was in a conversation with Mark and Shanae Allaire,
Mm-hmm.
who are a husband and wife team, and
Yep.
they're another one. They're actually so good together, it makes me sick. Also
Right.
because you know what I mean. I'm no longer married, so I had like a negative experience. But they're just so good together that it's almost sickening. But I found with them that they have that same passion and that they can celebrate. What I learned from them is celebrate the wins while you go through the
Yeah.
challenging time. When you have wins together, lean into those and celebrate those together, and it'll
Yep.
help rise over some of the rough bumps that are going to happen for sure. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's
Because
talk about your. Sorry, go on.
no, I was going to say it gives us the ability to grow both as a couple and grow our business as well. I think it's beneficial on both ends.
Yeah. What do you find most challenging when it comes to off time, though? Because the other side of this is when you spend so much time together at work,
Hmm.
you get home, it's important. I'm a firm believer in work-life balance and
Yeah.
finding time to de-stress. Do you find that you have the ability to sort of to go home and then do something together, like whether it's watch a movie or go have a picnic or a walk or whatever, or do you have a tendency to just separate and do your own thing at night?
Um, I would say 90% of it, it's together because it's mentally, we've learned that, like I said earlier, when it's work. And we have to see and work with each other in that capacity. And then whenever we're home, we can enjoy ourselves in another capacity. And, we can decompress together and just be like, and we still talk about work a lot, but we can take that deep breath and be like, okay, we got through that. And then we move on. And, it's one of those where since he's out in the field a lot more than I am, a lot of times I'll be like, hey, when you're ready, you go to bed. I'll take care of this stuff or whatnot. And so we carry those weights individually sometimes. That way it does give us a little bit of space, but we still enjoy doing other things together and spending that time together because, like I said, you take on kind of a little bit different role and we can do that and decompress together. So I think 90% of the time we do really well even after and we are able. But like anything else, there are some times where it's like he goes and he needs to do his own thing, out in the garage or go and watch TV and I'll do my own thing. And sometimes we just need that little break. Everybody does.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's for sure. One, I think a good takeaway for those that might be listening is that, number one, find things to do independently, like take something on like a solo project within the
Yeah.
organization so that, not only are you not always together, that you've got some
Mhm.
individual interests or individual focuses so that you have that a little bit of autonomy from the other person, even if it's for a short period of time in the day.
Yep.
But I can see that actually having other benefits. Just, I think it's good to know that the other person has your back to say, okay, listen, I can't do that, so that person's got me, and I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it. And I would
100.
imagine there's a gratitude that comes out of that as well as a partnership.
There, because there are certain tasks that he can complete that I'm just not, adept to do. He's so good at pricing and looking at a property and knowing right off top of his head, oh well, it's going to take us this long and I see this and this obstacle we need to take in consideration. Whereas me, it would take me forever and I would overthink it. And he's got pricing. He's dead on. And then me, there's things behind the scenes with working formulas and stuff like that with our man hour rate and stuff like what goes into it and what overhead is fixed and things like that. I can work through these numbers and I love working the numbers and he doesn't want to mess with that. He wants to know the bottom line and he wants to know what those numbers are. But so we interesting to watch the other work in that aspect. But like you said, that's theirs. They have ownership over it and let them do that. And then we can communicate that to each other. And I really like having, like you said, just that little bit of separation where he owns this part and I own this and we rely on each other for it. But ultimately we get that time to have our individual wins there as well.
Yeah, I love that. So why don't we? Let's wrap this up with a question, not operational, but in the crazy world. What is the most interesting, outrageous, outlandish, whatever experience that you and Josh have had in the work environment? Crazy client, crazy customer, crazy ask, tornado.
Oh, oh man. Honestly, man, that's a good one. Our clients are amazing. That's all I've got to say. We haven't had anything too outlandish with our clients. They're great. Honestly, I think probably the craziest thing, and it's not anything too much, but me when learning to operate the equipment, specifically our mowers, I have ended up in a ditch or two, few moments where your life kind of flashes before your eyes. It's not really that bad, but when you're on a machine, it kind of scares you. It's happened before. I've rolled back and things. It's those moments where I've been like, oh my gosh, did I just break something that's going to sink us? Or,
Yeah.
but really, I don't know if I wish I had a better answer to that, but we things once we're out there, we run pretty. It's in a negative way. It's pretty monotonous. It's in and out. It's streamlined, and like I said, we've got some pretty awesome clients that I'm very thankful for. So
Oh, that's good. I can tell you that I appreciate that. Because there isn't anything too crazy, which is nice to hear, I guess.
yeah,
But also that you're honest enough to admit that you've rolled a machine or two, because very
uh-huh.
few people in this industry, I think, are willing to admit that, because there's a bravado that comes in this industry, I find,
Oh yeah.
with hundreds of people that I've interviewed, and so it's nice to see a little bit of
Sure.
honesty, because I'm sure everybody's done it once or twice.
Like I said, if I'm going to ask something of my team members, or they have to learn as well, and we all make mistakes and stuff like that. So I feel like in our culture, them seeing that, whether it's Josh or myself, we make mistakes too. Things do happen, but we can come back from them. So I think the craziest thing, yeah, I mean, it's been me. I've my learning, whenever getting out there, that was definitely a task for Josh to teach me. I've come a long way now, but it definitely was a task at first.
It's too bad. Does anybody have that on video?
There's pictures, I think, but not video. I think there's pictures.
All right, I'm gonna have my team look it up, and then maybe we'll drop it into this video when we
Oh,
post
I'm
it.
I'm I'm sure it's out there.
All right. Well, listen, thanks very much for agreeing to join as a guest on our Get to Know the Pro series. So this, for those of you listening for the first time, thank you. This is something that we do on a regular basis. We have a growing community at echomeansbusiness.com of pros from all areas of North America, men, women, part-time, full-time, and everything in between. So our hope with this series is that we can get to know some of the people in our community a little bit better, beyond their social media profile, beyond the avatar, and forge some connections. So for those of you listening that found something interesting or relatable in Samantha's story with her and Josh, how they started their business or how they're managing their business as a couple, please feel free to reach out to her on her profile, which is going to be in the information down below on Echo Means Business. She has a profile there. You guys can follow each other and chat. Take a look also at the video, which will also link on women in the industry that Samantha was a part of. That was a great episode as well. Or follow the podcast, because that information will be there as well. Thanks, Samantha. Great talking to you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Take care.